It's been more than 4 years since Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of criminal sexual assault and third-degree rape in a New York City trial. But 3 months ago, that conviction was overturned.
Now, a New York City judge has set a date for a retrial of the disgraced movie mogul, and prosecutors say there are new claims of sexual assault against Weinstein. We should mention that Weinstein has denied all allegations of sexual misconduct. Here to break it all down for us, Better Call Brian, ABC News contributor Brian Buckmire. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
So can you start by just explaining why was this case overturned, and what do you think is going to happen now in this retrial?
Yeah, so basically this case got appealed, and the appellate court in New York said that what the prosecution did was improper. There's a rule about using what we call uncharged witnesses or uncharged victims, where their allegations don't necessarily create a charge, but you can use it to prove that someone's motive, identity, mistake or lack thereof, intent or common scheme of plan. We use an acronym of MIMIC, so you can use those to prove that, but you cannot prove that someone has a propensity to commit a crime because they did otherwise. The judge has said, you know what, from a 4-3 ruling, you improperly use these witnesses, and so we're going to reverse the case and bring it back. What I anticipate is, and what we're hearing, is that the prosecution says, okay, that was the issue, so now we're going to find women that are within the statute of limitations who are not these propensity witnesses, as the judge says, and we're going to get more of these alleged victims to testify against Harvey Weinstein.
Which is not an easy ask for any of these women. I believe in 2020 we heard from 6 women. Are they going to have to testify again? So
it's going to be either those same women or additional women that the prosecutors are bringing in, and I would say yes, because this is a type of case where there's not a lot of forensic evidence. There's not a rape kit or any kind of DNA that they can really bring forward because of how old the case is. This is in many ways a he said, she said case, or in the case of Harvey Weinstein, he said, she said, she said, she said, she down the line of many women coming forward.
So Weinstein's been behind bars, even though this has been overturned, because he was also convicted in a case out of LA, 16 years in prison for that one. I'm curious how this New York case will how it could play because of that happening.
So it affects it only slightly in the sense of, and just to kind of take a step back as well, those sentences are running consecutively, meaning that California sentence of 16 years won't start until New York starts. And that's very rare, often only used for the more serious of convicts. And that's what I think LA really wanted to put forward here. So it affects it in the sense of when that 16 years starts. But the appeal, if he's found guilty or not guilty, that doesn't affect the LA case. He's going to serve those 16 years. The question is just when.
Given everything that has happened, both with the New York case getting tossed out, getting the Los Angeles conviction, now you have maybe these new witnesses here. Is this going to be easier, harder to get a conviction compared to the first time?
I think it's going to be easier, and this is why I say it. Oftentimes, both defense attorneys and prosecutors say that on a retrial, it's easier for the prosecutor. The greatest tool that a defense attorney has is surprise. I surprise a prosecutor with an argument they didn't see, that they didn't anticipate, or cross-examination. But after that first trial, they get to fix things. The witnesses know what I'm going to cross-examine them on. And in a case where ultimately it was reversed because of the type of witnesses that came forward, and according to prosecutors and understanding what Judge Farber is going to do, and I've had cases in front of him, I've had trials in front of him, I think this is the type of case that if they have the proper witnesses within the statute of limitations, it's going to be difficult for the defense.
No question. This case, these charges really changed things in this country.
It was a huge moment when those first convictions came down. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that in terms of the moment that occurred, it's a journey, not a destination, and this is just a continuation of that journey. It's difficult in many ways for any victim of domestic violence or sexual abuse to take the stand and tell their story, yet alone be cross-examined, and I think this will just be a continuation of that journey, and we'll see where it's going to end.
All right, Brian Buckmire, thank you.
My pleasure.
Nice to see you.